Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bexar County Court at Law Number 6 in the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court. I'm Judge Wayne Christian, representing the state in all matters today. Will be Assistant Criminal District Attorney John St. Heinrich.
Thank you, Judge.
And let's see, Mr. Roundtree, you're under some sort of time constraint. Would that be accurate?
It is, Judge.
Take your 2 cases first. And then Daphne, your client's missing in action. Would that be accurate?
Judge, yes, he knew about it. He worked until 7 at the Tesla plant in Austin last night. And so, this morning. And so I think he may be sleeping, unfortunately.
Why don't you, we'll just put you on standby. And then if you can get in the morning, we've got another hearing after these pleas. That'll go for probably 30 minutes to an hour. You can come back in or we can do it another day. It's not a problem. Great.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Judge.
No problem. Okay, let's see. We've got Mr. Roundtree representing Theodore P. Seelan, 618-986, and a Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court Track 1 pretrial diversion plea and probation agreement, State of Texas versus Michael Mills, 655-385. Mr. Seelan and Mr. Mills, the first document I'm looking at on your cases are entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference that purport to have both your signature and your attorney's signature on the document. In fact, Mr. Seelan, in cause 618-986, is this your signature on this document, sir?
It is, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Mr. Seelan, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Judge.
And Mr. Mills, same questions for you. In this document entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir, it is.
And Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Mr. Mills, also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next document I have for each of you is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purports to have your signatures on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Seelan, is this your signature on this document also?
It is, Your Honor.
And Mr. Mills, is this your signature on this document also?
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you. By signing these documents, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read these documents or have them read to you in their entirety? If you had any questions about what was on these documents, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys. So that in signing these documents, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on these documents. Is that correct, Mr. Seelan?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. And is that correct, Mr. Mills?
That is correct, sir.
Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Mr. Seelan, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor, to both.
Same question for Mr. Roundtree for client Mr. Mills.
Yes, to both, Judge.
Mr. Seelan, are you a United States citizen, sir?
I am.
And same question for Mr. Mills.
Yes, sir, I am.
Thank you. Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Mr. Seelan, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
They have.
Same question for Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Mr. Mills.
Yes, Your Honor, they have.
State, what is this case? I don't have this in front of me. What does this case start out as? A DWI of some kind?
Are you talking about Mr. Seelan, Judge?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, it was a DWI, 0.15.
Oh, DWI great or 1.5 or greater. Hang on. I don't have that information. Okay.
Your Honor?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a 0.15. Sorry.
Anyway, clause 618-986, it was originally filed as a driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. State, do you have any motions for Mr. Seelan?
The state does have a motion, Judge. We would like to alter and amend the information. The state would like to strike count 1, driving while intoxicated 0.15 or higher, and amend the information to add count 2, obstruction of a public roadway.
No objection, Judge.
See if I get this right, state. My understanding is you're moving to amend the information to add paragraph 2 alleging obstruction of a highway. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Objection from the defense, that will be granted. Then state you're moving to waive paragraph 1 alleging DWI and the enhancement of greater than 0.15. Would that be accurate?
That would be accurate, Judge.
And defense, is that all correct?
It is, Judge.
So be it. Therefore, Mr. Seelan, in clause 618-986 to the charge of obstruction of a highway. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty, Your Honor.
And my paperwork says guilty. Is there an agreement for Mr. Sealand?
There is, Judge. The agreement is a $500 fine plus court costs, 16 months deferred adjudication, a DWI education course, a victims impact panel, the CAT SNP program, a Smart Start mobile device for 1/2 the term, and 40 hours community service, Your Honor.
And Mr. Roundtree, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Judge. I would note that Mr. Sealand did do the victim impact panel and the DWI education in anticipation of plea negotiations. He is also a veteran and I don't want to misspeak here, but in the reserves. Is that correct, Ted?
It is.
Okay. And so I would ask that you would consider that towards his community service.
Mr. Sealand, are you active reserve right now?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And did you go to the war in there somewhere?
I did. I was in Iraq in 2007.
How was that?
It was hot there.
And were you like Staff Sergeant San Heinrich and me when we left Afghanistan, we were winning? Is that your story also?
Always.
All right, that'll work.
Outstanding.
Judge, Mr. Sealand was out of the wire and was under fire, I guess I'd say. So he experienced what you guys did.
All right. Let me back up. Is there a reason why Mr. Sealand's not applying to the Veterans Treatment Court on this case?
There is, Judge. He lives in the almost as great as Texas state of Ohio.
Ah, okay. I got it.
And we tried diligently to get him into a VTC there in Ohio and were unable to do so.
So we're transferring probation to Ohio. Would that be accurate?
If that's possible, or if you can allow him to report by Zoom.
Is Susan on, Pat?
No, Your Honor, but I can give him the instructions, Your Honor.
I'm just gonna annotate on here that if we can transfer it, we're gonna transfer it. If we can't transfer it, he's gonna be allowed to answer by Zoom. Fair enough?
Exactly. And Mr. Salem, what you need to do is, I'm going to give you a phone number. Probation should be contacting you within 48 hours. If they do not contact you within 48 hours, you need to call this number, area code 2110.
I'll write it down as well, Pat.
Great. Everybody who's getting probation should.
Okay.
Area code 210-335-7446. If they do not within 48 hours, you need to call them and tell them that you were granted probation today, because if not, there's a problem and they may issue a warrant for your arrest. Okay.
And Pat, is that 48 business hours or does that include Saturday and Sunday?
It would be 48 business hours. I would say if by Tuesday he has nothing to call.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll put it in the chat for anybody else who's getting probation.
Since we can't punish Mr. Sealand any worse than making him live in a Yankee state, let's do this. All right. Mr. Sealand, in 618-986, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the charge of obstruction of a highway. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt. Place you on 16 months deferred adjudication probation, assessing a $500 fine plus court costs, 40 hours community service, probating all those based on your military service, DWI education, DWI victim impact, both of which you will get proactive credit on for having already done them. Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program or equivalent outpatient drug. Smart Start Mobile or Lifesaver Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 8 months. Transfer to Ohio, and that's not possible. He may answer by Zoom to Bear County. What did I miss, Pat?
Your Honor, it'd be up to the DAs.
What did I miss?
You didn't miss anything, Judge.
Roundtree, what did I miss?
That's all, Judge. I think you
All
got
right. Thank you, Mr. Sealand. Good luck to you, and thanks for your service, sir. Let's see. Now we're on Mr. Mills, and for administrative purposes, I noticed that the front page of the defendant's waiver of constitutional rights and court's admonitions has where it says, quote, I understand that I am charged with the offense of, it says guilty, and it should say DWI, I guess, in some capacity. What is this original offense? Straight DWI or something else, Tim?
Judge, I believe it was straight DWI. Go ahead.
It was a DWI, Your Honor.
So that administratively needs to get,
Yes, I will let them know.
okay. So Mr. Mills, in clause 655-385 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty.
Court accepts your plea of guilty, holds it in abeyance, places you on 1 year, Bear County Veterans Treatment Court. Track 1 pretrial diversion, assessing a $500 all-inclusive Veterans Treatment Court fee, 48 hours community service, probating all that based on your military service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Smart Start Mobile or Lifesaver Mobile times 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 6 months. Outpatient drugs for the Veterans Administration or another Veterans Treatment Court designated provider, requiring your successful completion of the Veterans Treatment Court, issue judge's bond. Defendant to be supervised by VTC and CSCD. Let's see. I'm now looking at a document entitled Track 1 Pretrial Intervention, which is a contract by and between you and your attorney and the Bear County Criminal District Attorney's Office. Said contract setting out all the requirements and prerequisites of your successful completion of the Veterans Treatment Court. In fact, sir, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Mr. Mills, is this your signature on this document?
It is, Judge.
And Mr. San Heinrich, as the Assistant Criminal District Attorney assigned to this case, is this your signature on this document?
It is, Judge.
That's what I got. Is Ron with us? Josh is with us. I miss Josh. No restitution in this case, correct, State?
None that I am seeing, Judge.
All good. All right. What'd you do in the military, Mr. Mills?
Yes, sir.
What
I
did
was
you?
I was a 13 Foxtrot.
And what is a 13 Foxtrot?
Forward observer.
Ah, you got some stories to tell. Did you go to the war?
No, sir, I did not.
Oh, man, we'll find you another one. Just stand by for a while. All right. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Mills?
Nothing further from the state, Judge.
All right. And Josh, I assume someone's going to call Mr. Mills later on today and brief him up on in processing.
I'm not seeing Josh logged on, Judge. I can email him.
Okay. But you're going to get a call probably from Mr. Mora, but you're going to get a call from somebody. Thank you, Mr. Mills. Thanks for your service. Thank you, Mr. Roundtree. Y'all are out of here.
Thank you, Judge. Mike, you can log off. Thank you, Judge, for getting us in here quick. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. We've got Beth and Mr. Hines, and we've got, and Ms. Previty is still looking for her client. So
They're
Beth,
on, Your Honor. Both of
Judge,
them.
we found him. He's awake now and he's here.
all right.
Okay.
This is cause 674-610, State of Texas versus Yemi Rodriguez, represented by Ms. Stafford Preventi, and 663-704, State of Texas versus Govani I. Hines, represented by Ms. Elizabeth Settle. The first document I'm looking at on both these cases is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. It purports to have all the defendants and their attorney signatures on it. In fact, Mr. Rodriguez, is this your signature on this document? Have I got Mr. Rodriguez?
Yemi, you're muted, but Judge, we can't see the documents. Are you showing them? Or you just want to know he did sign it?
That's all I need to know. Is this your signature on this document, Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Previty is attorney for Ms. Rodriguez. Is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Hines, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Settle, is this also your signature as attorney for Mr. Hines?
Yes, Your Honor.
The next document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. It purports to have your signatures on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Rodriguez, is this your signature on this document also?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez, is this your signature on this document also?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. By signing these documents, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read these documents or have them read to you in their entirety? If you had any questions about what was on these documents, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys. So that in signing these documents, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on these documents. Is that correct, Mr. Rodriguez? Is
Yes, Your Honor.
that correct, Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge Previty, as attorney for Mr. Rodriguez, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Judge.
Same question for Ms. Settle as attorney for Mr. Hernandez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Rodriguez, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hernandez, same question.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Judge Previty, does the state fully comply with discovery for you on this case?
Yes, sir.
Any question for Ms. Settle as attorney for Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, Your Honor.
What offense is Mr. Rodriguez charged with originally? Straight DWI first, or what is it?
It's DWI, but there's a count to obstruction I believe the state is waiving.
Okay, so what is the enhancement on Mr. Rodriguez DWI? Is the DWI greater than 1.5 or what is it originally?
It was greater, but that they did the information and just as listed as a regular.
Yes, Judge, the state is going to be TICing cause number 673872, and we're going to be pleading on cause number 674610, Judge.
Your Honor, both of them were regular DWIs first.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thanks.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, Mr. Rodriguez can cause 674610 to the charge of driving while intoxicated. First offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
And is there an agreement for Mr. Rodriguez in 674610?
There is, Your Honor. It's a $500 fine plus court costs, 16 months deferred adjudication, a DWI intervention course, a victim impact panel, the CAT SNP program, a Smart Start mobile device for 1/2 the term, 60 hours community service, and if it pleases the court, the state will be taking into consideration cause number 673872.
And go ahead.
Your Honor, I wanted to ask if you'd consider waiving his community service. He served in the Navy as a machinist mate on a submarine.
I can't punish him any worse than putting him in the Navy. He's already pre-punished himself. My goodness. Yeah, that's no problem.
Thank you.
Judge.
But Staff Sergeant Hunter said, what's it like to be on a submarine and be underwater for like months at a time?
I would say you don't have no time to think, Your Honor. You're constantly doing something, qualifications, and come on, you're next to a whole bunch of guys, so there's nothing really much to do than just work.
I think we still rather be paratroopers, right, John?
Yeah, hold on, Judge.
All right, we're going to probate his community service based on his military service, obviously.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
And right now he has scram. Can we remove that for the Smart Start mobile or the ignition interlock?
Yeah, we're going to waive scram and go back to either a Smart Start or a Lifesaver mobile at 4 blows a day with an overlap, meaning he needs to get the new device active before he takes the scram off. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
And how many hours community service are involved in Mr. Rodriguez that we're probating?
60.
60.
And he's already completed the victim impact, Your Honor.
And is there a reason why we didn't consider Mr. Rodriguez for the Veterans Treatment Court also?
It was his work schedule. It would just be too difficult for him to be able to come into court regularly.
Okay. Well, it looks like the state's giving him a tremendous deal. So good, good deal. All right, let me make sure I get this right. Mr. Rodriguez, you filed 674610. The court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of uncomplicated first offense. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 16 months deferred adjudication probation, assessing a $500 fine plus court cost, 60 hours community service, probating all those based on your military service, DWI intervention, DWI victim impact panel, community alliance for traffic safety new intervention program, outpatient drug, either a Smart Start mobile or Lifesaver mobile at 4 blows a day for half term, which is 8 months. As previously stated, you are currently on scram from pretrial violations. And as soon as you get active on either a Lifesaver or Smart Start mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day, you can turn in the scram bracelet and save yourself $350 a month. Taking into consideration cost 673872, which apparently is another DWI, which is granted, and that shall be dismissed. Recalling all pretrial bond conditions and warrants. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Rodriguez?
Nothing further
Not from the
state, Judge.
defense.
Good luck, Mr. Rodriguez. And
Thank you very much.
good brevity.
Have a
No,
great
good
day,
one.
everyone.
Judge, Mr. Rodriguez, hang on. Can I give him some instructions, please?
That's wonderful. Please do.
Mr. Rodriguez, the probation department is going to be reaching out to you within the next 72 business hours. If you don't hear from them, by the time you wake up next Tuesday, you need to call this telephone number. It's 210-335-7446 and let them know that you need to go through orientation, okay? Do not call Smart Start. Do not call Lifesaver to get your device. They will reach out to you, okay? Your officer is the one that has to make the recommendation. Once you go through orientation, you will have your officer's name and phone number. You need to call them and tell them that you were just placed on probation and you need the referral for the PAM device so that they can get that in the works and you can get your device within the 10 days that the judge gives you. Okay? Do you have
Yes,
any
ma'am.
questions?
No, ma'am. So,
Okay, it's very important that you go through that orientation because if not, we'll have to file a motion to revoke and you'll be right back here via the Bear County Jail, okay?
yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank
Back
you.
Back on the record on cause 663-704, State of Texas versus Giovanni E. Jimenez. And let's see. To the charge of unlawfully carrying a handgun in a motor vehicle. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Thank you, sir. And is there an agreement for Mr. Jimenez?
There is, Judge, a $600 fine, $200 of which is to be probated, plus court costs, 18 months deferred adjudication, an APSE course, a handgun safety course, 60 hours of community service. If it pleases the court, the state would wish to take into consideration cause number 663-703.
What kind of case is that?
Unlawful discharge, I believe, Judge.
And I know this is a handgun. What kind of handgun is this?
I'm uncertain, Judge. Perhaps the defendant could help us.
And Mr. Jimenez, what make
It
handgun?
was,
It's a what?
it was a 9mm Taurus.
Taurus. Okay, thank you. State, can I have permission to award this to defense counsel's additional attorney's fees instead of destroying it? Is
Correct, Judge. The state does not object.
that okay with you, Ms. Settle?
Sure, Judge. Thank you.
And defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Judge. We did want to ask that he be allowed to buy out some of those community service hours. And also he lives in Houston, so we would like to ask that it be transferred to Harris County.
Susan, any problem with that?
That should not be a problem, Your Honor.
No, the big problem is he lives in Houston. He needs a handgun. That's the problem. That was a joke, sir. Okay. Sure,
Excuse me,
you
Your Honor.
yeah.
Quick question. I am based in Houston, but I just currently moved. It's in Fort Bend County. That's the county.
What is the town in Fort Bend County you live in now?
It's in Missouri City, Texas.
Okay. So Susan, we're just going to transfer to Fort Bend County and not Harris County, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
What are you doing down there, sir? What's your job position?
I'm a supervisor for maintenance technician on property. So I live on property. I'm running about 3 different properties for UAG, United Apartment Group.
Great. Thank you, sir. All right. Beth, make sure I do this correctly. In clause 663-704, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of unlawfully carrying a handgun in a motor vehicle. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 18 months, deferred adjudication probation. It says a $600 fine, probating $200 of that, plus court costs, 60 hours community service, APSE stress management course, firearm safety course. Taking into consideration clause 663-703, which is granted, and it shall be dismissed. And we're transferring this to Fort Bend County, and we're awarding the firearm to defense counsel's additional attorney's fees not to be returned to the defendant, his family, or his friend. Anything further from the state of the defense of Mr. Hinnett?
Nothing further from the state, Judge.
No, Your Honor.
Did you get that information from Ms. Gross earlier, Mr. Hinnett, on your probation situation?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Since you live over there, you'll be doing your orientation via Zoom, but they're still going to reach out to you. And if you haven't heard from them, you can call that number or get a hold of Miss Settles.
Perfect. And it's the same number, Susan, the 210 number?
Yes, that is correct.
Great. Thank you.
And Beth, I doubt there's going to be a quote firearm safety course unquote in Fort Bend County, but I could be wrong. But he may have to go online to look for that, or just find something equivalent. How many hours would that be, Susan? 6 to 8, probably.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, find me a 6 to 8 hour firearm safety course of any kind, and we're going to give you credit for it because you're going to have a hard time doing. You're probably doing it online. All right. Anything further from the state of the defense of Mr. Hernandez?
Nothing further from the state, Judge.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
Okay, Judge, Mr. Miller and Mr. Dilly are on and here for that motion.
And Mr. Sam Heinrich, did you have somebody else from your office coming down, or are you handling this? Yes,
He's
sir.
No,
here, Your Honor.
Mr. 88 Jordan Brown is, I believe he's here on Zoom.
I am here, Judge. Good morning. I had it written down for 10:30, so I signed it just a few minutes ago. Sorry if you wanted to start it earlier, I apologize.
No.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Am I okay? Am I dismissed?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Next, I've got cause 633088, which I guess is the original trial number or trial case number on State of Texas versus Jack Edward Miller. The original case, I believe, was resisting arrest. It's now on appeal. I don't have the appeal number in front of me. Mr. Dilly, do you have that number?
Negative, Your Honor. I sure don't. My apologies.
Well, it may not be necessary. So that being said, this is a motion to modify conditions of appeal bond. Representing Mr. Miller is going to be Mr. Dave Dilly.
Your Honor.
Yeah.
Mr. Miller needs to put on his video, please.
If you can hear me, I'm trying to do that and it's not letting me. Can I log out and log back in real quick?
Is that all right, Your Honor?
It blocked my camera.
Okay.
It'll be very quick. Here I go.
Hey, Judge.
Yeah.
While we're waiting on that.
Yeah.
On the VTC plea, Mr. Mills.
Yeah.
Can you recall the warrant?
Absolutely. We call all pretrial bond conditions and warrant.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
And Ron, we do that on every case. I just sometimes forget to say it.
No, I don't think we knew about it until I just looked them up and saw the warrant was on the computer still.
Got it.
So my apologies on that.
All right, no problem. All right, I'm gonna take a short break. When Mr. Miller comes back, I'll come back.
Sorry about that, Your Honor.
Roger that, Judge.
He's coming in. I'll notify the judge. He hasn't heard it.
Okay, thank you. I'm back. I apologize for that. I tried to start video, Patricia. It was not accessing my camera. I had to restart
That's
it. And
okay,
then it said,
Mr.
installing updates on Firefox, so I apologize.
Okay, I have texted him that we're ready.
Okay, back on the record on trial case cost 633-088, and Ms. Benavides has got me the appellate number 04-22-00301-1, State of Texas versus Jack Edward Miller. Once again, my understanding is this is going to be a motion to modify conditions of bond. And let me, if I may, go through what my recollection of events is that brought us to this point, and I'll let Mr. Dilly and Mr. Sandheinrich and or Mr. Brown throw in and correct me if I've missed something. Many months ago, we had a jury trial where Mr. Miller was a defendant, and I believe the offense was resisting arrest. He was found guilty by the jury. He was placed on probation. A condition of probation on the trial case was he was not to go within 500 yards of the complex that had the Almas Park City offices and the police department. And I don't have that address in front of me, but that was on the order. And sometime after that, Mr. Miller appealed the case, and his current attorney is Mr. Montgomery. And Mr. Dilly, are you taking over the appeal on this case also?
Negative, Your Honor. Just strictly this issue.
Okay. So anyway, Mr. Montgomery apparently is still handling the appeal. I don't know what the status of that is at this time. At some point, it was brought to my attention that the Almas Park Police Department was called, and was either by Mr. Miller personally or by one of his friends that was with him, and they apparently were in a vehicle and they were within 500 yards of the Almas Park Police Department. I think ultimately it was determined it was like 100 yards from the Almas Park Police Department. And they witnessed what they thought was a crime that involved the stealing of a golf cart or something to that effect. And they called the Almas Park Police, who arrived at the scene, and I guess the officer knew who Mr. Miller was and reported that to the pretrial services people, who reported it to me. And as a result of that,